Okay, tipsters, what's good? My top two rookie IDP 411. Here we go. Pretty excited about these guys, but first, bumper. Tipsters was good. It's been a couple weeks actually. Took some time off, had to go golfing. Take a little break. We're in our off season as well, so we're here to get to it. My top two guys. Kind of a coin flip with these two. Who knows what could happen? As long as they both stay healthy, I don't think either one of them has a bad year. Bar none. They're both gems. They're both very similar in the combine, 4.42, 4.43, 40. They both did 21 and 22 reps at the bench. They're both very productive in college, both leaders at their respective, inside linebacker position. I like both of them. And you can flip either one of them as one or two. Doesn't matter to me. But I got to put them 1 and 2 somewhere. So that's what I did. We'll go with my first guy first and my comparisons. It's going to be a little bit longer video this time probably. Because it's going to be two guys and I've got to make sure that you guys get the best content available for my last two. So without further ado, my man Devin Bush, okay, from Michigan, very solid player coming out of college, very solid player when he came out of high school, one of the top rated linebackers and players coming out of high school. I think this kid is one of those players that you go get because you think he can change your defense completely. And I think he does that. I think he's the type of player that really pursues well. He's strong in the background. He's got decent coverage skills. And otherwise, why not go get him, right? And he was coached well in college, right? Both these guys were coached well in college, both in a very strong defensive scheme in college that transitions well to the pros. Devin Bush, being coached by Harbaugh, knew exactly what he had with the guy. He got a lot of comparisons to Shaq Thompson. Size, speed, agility, leadership. But Shaq Thompson was a safety converted, got bigger, got stronger, and converted to linebacker. I actually think Devin Bush is a better player overall than Shaq Thompson was. Now, Shaq Thompson was a great player. He still is a great player. Had a few injuries in there. Devin Bush he's downhill. He's a strong player. It's crazy how many Michigan Wolverines are on our top 25 here, but you can't argue with what they've been doing, and you can't argue with who the players that they've brought in to make them better. There's a reason why they're one of the top defenses in college football last year. So, in that aspect, you go get a guy to replace a guy. It's just what we do. It's just how it goes. It's just how you want to pursue. And in this aspect, you go get a player like Devin Bush because you're trying to replace one of your best players. And to do that, you got to go get a guy that can fill that role. And it sucks that he's hurt, and it sucks that it's the guy that you got to replace, but it's also his comparison. It's Ryan Shazier. Very similar in size, one's 5'11", one's 6 foot, almost 6'1" in Shazier. 235 pounds, 237 pounds. Both downhill guys, great in coverage, very dominant in their position in college. Both very downhill guys, drop back in coverage, leaders of defense. Ryan Shazier is going to be there right next to him probably every single game without, when he's not doing rehab. But if you know Shazier at all, he can't be away from the game. He's been there the whole time, and I hope he comes back full recovery and plays well, and actually gets to play football again and does what he loves. But in that time frame, you've got to go get a guy that you think is going to replace him, and that's Devin Bush. So it's pretty awesome that why not go after the guy that you're trying to replace? Get a guy that's a clone of him. So you do that. You go get Devin Bush. You get a guy that you're excited about, that was coached well in college, that leads his defense, that pushes downhill. I'm pretty excited about the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a steel curtain guy, and that's exactly what they're known for, the steel curtain, big solid defense. They always have been. And I think they need, they're drafting the guy in the right position at the right time. He almost came to him they had to wait a year, but he came to him at a good time. And I think that he's going to fill the role like you expect him to, and I think that you're happy to see him in that position. My next guy, he's my number one. And the reason him being my number one is not just because of his position and where he's at, but the help he has next to him. And that's Devin White. I mean, y'all know it. Y'all knew it was coming. He's going to fill the inside linebacker role there. He's a leader. If you see him in practice already in OTAs, he's been calling the plays. They say he's really strong in the playbook. He's a really smart dude. And he's a savage. I mean, he didn't even have to do a pro day, right? I mean, he showed out that much well in the combine, but he couldn't just sit back and watch during his pro day. So he had to do some drills and do some stuff that he didn't do at his pro day just to prove how good he was. And he didn't show out. He took 3 weeks off, and they were like, oh, let's see if, this guy gained some weight and did whatever. And he showed out like nothing happened. Like, this guy can take a break for a couple weeks, heal up, and be fresh and be just as solid, if not as good as he was at his combine. And, when players, they get ready for the combine. I mean, that's what they do. They spend, weeks and months training on different ways to do the jump, long jump, or the broad jump, the 40-inch vertical, stuff like that. And to just jump back out and do that is pretty impressive, and that's what you expect. I mean, he's a fun kid. He has like 6 horses that he's raised. He's going to move them to Tampa. And that's pretty funny out of the kid. It's good to see background stuff on people. My comparison is a guy, that for me is my favorite player in NFL history, probably. And if you don't know a little background about the Buccaneers, they haven't drafted a linebacker in 24 years in the first round. And that player that they drafted was arguably the greatest Buccaneer of all time. I'm not a Buccaneers fan. Let's not put that out there, but I am a fan of this player and what he has shown in the he's a Hall of Famer now. He's retired, has since become a Hall of Famer, and in my opinion, like I said, the greatest Buccaneer of all time, and that's Derek Brooks. 6 foot, 240 pounds. Devin Bush, 6 foot, 240 pounds. Both ran a 4.40. Both have a good vertical. Both have good coverage skills. And let's be real, if any one of you were drafting in fantasy football right now and you had Derek Brooks in his prime, you'd go get him. Right? That dude put up monster numbers as a pro. And he was solid at Florida State, and he only got better, as a pro. I mean, you want to talk, and people wonder why I like him so much, why I like Derek Brooks so much. Derek Brooks, succeed in college, smart kid, really smart kid in college at Florida State. Played on one of the best teams in that area in 1995. And then he goes to the Buccaneers in a spot where they really need him, wins a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, plays outstanding. My greatest stat and my favorite thing about the player, 14 years and didn't miss a single game with the Buccaneers at inside linebacker. 14 years. That's crazy. That's just astronomical. Who wouldn't take that? Who wouldn't try to get a player like that again? You know, and it's been 24 years since they drafted a first-round linebacker. Well, in my opinion, they waited for the right guy. You know, a guy that's very similar. Size, speed, weight, bench press. I mean, goes after. It's a ball hawk. You know, Devin White had, in 2017, had 130-something tackles, 13 tackles for loss or something like that. And just kept going. You know, and the players loved him. The people loved him. You know, he's got an infectious attitude. That reminds me of Derek Brooks. You know, they just had lunch together recently, and Derek Brooks and Devin White to kind of catch up and talk and stuff like that. And Devin White will tell you he fanboyed. You know, he's a big Derek Brooks fan, and to see his game and how he played, and that's cool. I mean, that's pretty awesome when you think arguably the best Buccaneer of all time, and you try to bring in a player that can emulate him, that wants to emulate him. You know, and that's awesome. I mean, that's something that every Buccaneer fan should be happy about. And you're going to get it. I really believe that. I think he's going to have 100 tackles this year, no problem. I think he can break into 120. I think he could be this year's Darius Leonard as a rookie, as being the best rookie linebacker. Do I think he's going to be as good as Darius Leonard? I don't know. He's in a good spot. People got to worry about Levante David. You know, they got to worry about Vita Vea in front of him. You know, they got to worry about different guys on the outside, aspect. So why not expect him to play ball? And that's what I see him doing. You know, he's a leader. He wants to have a 140 tackle season. You know, and I think he can do that. I think he can pull off that kind of year. And Tampa's defense is that type of aspect where he could do that. He could be a guy that moves in and plays a lot and jumps up. So, guys, those are my comparisons. Those are my top two. Devin White, Devin Bush. Those two guys are legit pro comparisons, you know, between Shazier and Derek Brooks. I hope you guys have enjoyed the rookie IDP 411. Okay, I've been excited to do it. I'm sorry it took so long to do the last two, but I kind of need to give you guys some more content at a later time. 2 weeks coming from Wednesday, we're going to do the rookie IDP 411 change. We're going to go to the Dirty O podcast where I talk about the dirty offense, some IDP players. I am having a scheduled phone conversation with a rookie linebacker coming up from the Green Bay Packers, which I'm very excited about here in San Diego. Plays, going to be at Green Bay, but he's here in San Diego visiting. So I'm pretty excited about talking to him. That's coming forward, so stay tuned. And we really appreciate everything's going on, guys. And remember, as always, let's go, let's go, let's go.